I'll now call the next four students: Brian Hall, Ramon Melendez Jr., Kaya Didier, and Chauncey Sharon Jr. That's supposed to be what? Brianna Hall? I'm sorry. Okay, Brianna Hall, Ramon Melendez, Kaya Didier.
They're not here.
And Chauncey is not here? Okay.
No, Chauncey's here. Right here.
Okay. Sorry, sir. Okay.
All right, cool. Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Hello. All right, I'm going to start. Good evening, Newark community. My name is Chauncey Sharon Jr., and I attend University High School. I am here to tell you all a little story. Once upon a time, there was a young youth group called Youth Media Symposium. They had a crazy idea that the district would, sorry, all right, cool.
It's okay.
All right, they had a crazy idea that the district would welcome their suggestions to give Newark students in Newark public schools an opportunity to give positive feedback to their teachers. I mean, for goodness sakes, we are the ones in the classroom, right? Right. So, they developed a survey, but not just any survey. It was based on a very successful survey used in Boston Newark Public Schools, developed after years of planning and constant study. The tool was designed to give helpful feedback and included all aspects of teaching and learning from curriculum to the classroom management. These future leaders requested a meeting with the superintendent to present our ideas, but instead were sent to one of the many staffers in the faraway land we call Two-Seater Street. This was just the start of our journey. To make a long story short, I mean a very long story short, there's a survey being put in school, but not the survey we once have proposed. They huffed and they puffed, and they blew our survey straight down to the ground. Okay, cool. All right. They met with us just to say they met with us. I think they kept a question or two, but again, the student voice, the community's voice, was diluted. Now some may say this isn't a big thing, but to me, it's the biggest thing of all. They say they want educated, involved, and strong students coming from Newark Public Schools. But when we exercise our right to set our own standards, to be our own leaders, to take ownership of our own education, we're not supported. This is not the end of my story. The Youth Media Symposium is not finished, and we won't be moved. We have consulted with our consultants, and we are now planning chapters 2 as we speak. To my community, we will continue to be your valiant heroes, a voice to the voiceless, a spine to the spineless, and at that note, to be continued.
Thank you. Next speakers, Jihad Kelly, Shakur Gibson, Abu Bakr Sharif, and Josiah Paul. If any of those students are here, please come forward. Next speakers, Jordan, I'm not sure how to pronounce this, Jordan Tago, Mubarak Muhammad, Brianna Sellers, and Kyra Fudge. Good evening.
Good evening. My name is Jordan Tago, and my home is Central High School. And I'm here to talk about how Central has changed and how the moratorium should be passed, I guess. So, 4 years ago, I walked into Central High School not knowing what to expect. From all the comments that I heard, I was expecting my time at Central to be a bad experience. It was not until I met the principal, Roz Baraka, that I realized all the outside negative opinions were wrong. Today, I stand before you proudly to say I am on my way to Morehouse College. Today, I stand before you proudly to say I am on my way to Morehouse College due to the direction of Roz Baraka and his wonderful staff, who give students 110% of themselves. Roz Baraka has the E.F. Hutton effect. When he speaks, everyone listens. Tonight, I hope to have that same effect on you as well. Say yes to the moratorium to stop additional school closures, layoffs, hiring of consultants, raises for superintendent staff, hiring of consultants to do work district personnel can perform. And say yes to the forensic audit of district budgets and requiring superintendent to share student performance data school by school and grade by grade. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Next speaker, Mubarak Mohammed, Brianna Sellers, Kiara Fudge. Are any of those students here? Next speakers, Shania Sherman, Ebony Brown, and Tiana Orr. Are any of those students present? Shania Sherman, Ebony Brown, Tiana Orr. Okay, we will now, these are the last students who have signed up, who have indicated that they are students, so we will move now to the adults on our speakers list. Our first speaker will be Joe Del Grasso, Joseph Del Grasso. I'm sorry, there's another student? I'm sorry, just a minute.
What's her name?
Williamson is supposed to be on this list tonight to speak.
I'm sorry, but the name may be on the list, but it may not have been indicated that it was a student, so I'll just take a second and just look through the list. The last name is Williamson?
Yes.
She's on there. Yeah, 140. 140.
Okay. Thank you.
140.
And Tasia Williamson?
Yes.
I'm sorry, is there any other student who did not indicate that they were a student?
Juggle 3. Who's
If you you know what? If you could just please, Ms. Merritt, if you could raise your hand. If you are a student and I did not call your name, please go over to Ms. Merritt and she will check the list and find your name on the list if you are signed up. Right here in front of the podium here to my right. Her hand is up now. So if you are a student who needs to check your name on the list, please see her. Okay, Ms. Williamson? She's number 140 on our list.
number 1?
Yes, Ms. Williamson, you may speak.
She's a seventh grader at 13th Avenue School.
Thank you.
Lord. Now I'm gonna have.
Now, this is my first year at 13th Ave, and I'm not really happy with the system. Yeah, they've mixed the schools together, and which means they've also mixed the classes. And they seem to mix the good students with the ones who try to concentrate a lot with some of the more rebellious students. And that's where it becomes a big problem for me. I was involved with an incident when there was a misunderstanding, but I've got that straightened out. But what came from this misunderstanding was with a girl and she had threatened me. Now, when she had, and I told my father about it, it reminded me of one time when I got suspended for threatening a child, but I did it because I was kind of a little angry. I do get just a little bullied sometimes. And I got suspended, but when this girl threatened me, she didn't get suspended. She still came to school every day. My father said that he has to work on it because no one heard this girl threaten me. It happened at lunchtime. Ever since, well, seems like ever since we started doing work, I've been like kind of a B student, and it's very difficult for me to become an A student like I've always been. So I was hoping, what will you do for the change? Because my daddy has been trying to plead with you to help the change. Because if this keeps going on, I'll be like a little afraid to come to school. I already have been upset for coming to this school. We as the community need to help. What do you plan to do to make the changes?
Thank you, Ms. Williamson. Thank you. Ms. Merritt, are there other students whose names you found on the list who would speak now?
Christian Morton, number 98.
Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Christian Moore. I'm a clergy's man and I'm an 8th grader at Alexander Street School. I would like to thank the superintendent, Kim Anderson, and other and the assistant superintendent, Ms. Center, and of course my very own principal, Mrs. Ortiz. Alexander Street School is home to me and to many of my other classmates. It's safe, clean, and the teachers and staff work hard to provide each student with the skills they need to achieve their dreams. Not to mention that 34 out of 35 8th graders have been placed in the high school of their choices. Our talented and dedicated staff of teachers, principals, nurses, school psychologists, and social workers, counselors, and creative specialists, are actively involved in other daily school routine, and they help to make our school grounds safe and provide us with an enriched learning environment. Our custodial staff keeps the school clean and are always willing to go above and beyond their capacity to assist staff and students. On behalf of Alexander Street School, we would like to thank all of the advisory board members for supporting our students and staff as we look forward to next year where we can continue on a positive road to achieving our goals. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
Khadijah Bhatti.
What number?
Okay. Good afternoon. My name is Khadijah Bhatti. I reside at 2 Cedar Street. I'm a freshman at University High School and also a member of the Newark Student Union. The Student Union is an organization dedicated to empowering the student's voice and securing the best quality education possible for Newark Public School students. As students, we have come to realize this district, more specifically Superintendent Cami Anderson and Governor Christie, are vindictive in all their attempts to make any types of reform. The Anderson administration is failing to address the fundamental problem with Newark Public Schools, closing schools that do not need to be, taking away money from common necessities in areas that need the money the most, and being negligent, completely uninvolved with Newark Public Schools and Newark students is not the answer. Instead, we believe making sure students have all the necessary tools for a quality education, ensuring teachers and their jobs are defended, and most importantly, having local control will pave the path for supreme education. In an article entitled Newark Public Schools Eliminate More Than 100 Administrative Positions covered by the Star Ledger, it states the elimination of the positions will save the district roughly $16 million, which really isn't a lot compared to the current budget gap we have. Just like what I previously mentioned at the last advisory board meeting, as stated in fiscal 2014's budget report, supervisors, directors, and department chairs are being laid off for reasons of economy and organizational efficiencies, but salaries were frozen, and there are gaps where money is needed the most, while you, Cammie, your salaries, along with all of the other 19 employees in your posse, get these increases with bonuses. You get increases, not only do you get increases with bonuses. Then again, as shown in the fiscal 2013's budget report this year's, charter per pupil expenditure versus public school expenditure exceeds our initial amount. Basically, in a public school system, public schools are being underfunded, but that's another issue which is clear. Our schools continue to be deprived of crucial supplies such as paper and working computers, and teachers continue to come out of their pockets like they always have to fulfill the needs that the district to fulfill the needs that the district should already be handling. In conclusion, the Newark Student Union stands firm in the belief that students have a voice in the policy-making process. Newark students are tired of being treated like guinea pigs in the new corporate reform movement. We aren't numbers, we're people, and our education should be reflective of that. That being said, we would like to ask the Newark Board for a dedicated spot for a complete and thorough address in future meetings for the Newark Student Union President's Report. Thank you. Newark students! Newark students! Newark students! Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any other students who would be speaking at this time? Ms. Wilson or Ms. Merritt?
We have Jimmy Olani, and I think we have one other.
Okay, thank you. Do we have a number for him? You can go ahead, sir.
Okay. Good evening, Ms. Anderson, advisory board members, parents, staff, and students.
Good evening.
My name is Jimmy Olani. I'm an 8th grader at Alexander Street School. I've been a student there for 5 years, and I am the starting power forward for the boys basketball team. I want to say that I am very appreciative of our staff and students who have supported our team. Our parents are also actively involved with the team and support each game. Too often, we hear the stories of failure and students who have dropped out of school and never go on to pursue a high school and college education. A small portion actually, of those who drop out of high school and college reside from Alexander Street School. Through my hard work and dedication and support from my family and teachers, I have always been able to maintain an A grade average while playing sports and participating in other activities. I am very sure that this applies to many of my other colleagues at Alexander Street School. Our teachers have high expectations and provide us with mentoring, tutoring, and offers us incentives to work harder and push ourselves to reach academic achievement. Like any other school, there will be problems. And so our principal and staff have worked diligently to make sure that our school is clean and safe. They have also helped us realize that we have a shared responsibility in maintaining peace in our surrounding community. In closing, I would like to say that I believe that I have been prepared by my parents, teachers, and support staff at Alexander Street School to think critically, stay dedicated to my education, to be a self-motivator, and to become a long-life learner. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you. And the last student speaker today, Victor Victor spoke? Oh, okay.
Actually, I'm taking the spot from my dad because he would like me to speak in
I'm sorry, but, you know,
Is she on the
that's
list?
just
I can't
something,
do I was supposed to speak, but he put his name. I can't do that?
I'm sorry, you're speaking for someone else?
No,
Is that-
it's my father, but he, instead of putting my name, he put his own. He didn't know.
Oh, okay, all right, go ahead.
Okay, good evening. My name is Alera Mashi. I'm an 8th grader at Mount Vernon School. I'm supposed to be going to high school next year, but I'm not pleased with the high school I was placed in. I was placed in Shabazz, and actually I'm a great student, and I feel as though that the system that you guys have implemented this year is horrible because I wasn't able to go and meet other school systems and voice my opinion. It's not fair that students who aren't as intellectual as me are placed in better schools than me. Why would you guys place me in a place where I'm not going to be able to progress and I'm going to be able to be downwards like the other students there? I don't think that's fair. I don't think you guys really understand how difficult it is to look your parents in the face and tell them that you're accepted to one of the worst schools in Newark, whether you believe it or not. Shabazz may be a really good school for some people, but it's not the best school for me. The place that I chose, I wanted to be placed in, I wasn't chosen there, and I feel as though if I have the brains and intelligence to be placed there, then why wasn't I placed there? I feel every time I try and voice my opinion to other people, they give me the runaround. And if I have the grades and if I have the intelligence to sit here and talk to you, and I think you guys should at least try and help me and listen to what I have to say rather than throwing me to different people. It's very hard to voice your opinions when no one wants to listen to you. I feel as though what I have to say is not being heard. It's not being heard, and it really disappoints me because why should I have to try hard and work hard in school if I'm going to be thrown somewhere that I'm not supposed to be going to? This only disappoints me and it disappoints my parents. I wasn't born in America. I was actually born in Africa, and my parents brought me here when I was 3 for better education. If I'm not able to make them proud, if I'm not able to make my family proud, then why am I here? You guys, the system really disappointed me this year because it wasn't like this in other times. And I just feel as though if you guys are able to help me go to the Science Park or University or a better school besides any other schools that I'm not supposed to be able to go to, then that would be really appreciated. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Before we move on, I think we just need to really give all of our student speakers a really big hand. It's a really difficult thing. And they all spoke so well. We got to hand it to them.
Madam Chair. Just before we move on, I just wanted to agree with the previous speaker. I also have been getting concerns from students who are very disappointed with their selection. I just wanted to see if the administration...
I'm sorry.
I just wanted to know who can they reach out to if they're disappointed with their selection, which the district chose.
I think someone will follow up. We do have the young lady's information. Thank you. Yes, someone will follow up with her. At this time, we will move on to our speakers list, and now we will have our next speaker, Joseph Del Grasso, President Newark Teachers Union.
How many minutes he get? 10? He get 10, 5 and 5. I'm gonna do 9 and 1. That's fine.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Madam President, Superintendent, good board members, and people of Newark. I come here not to bury anyone, and I come here not to praise anyone. I come here to tell you that the evil that men do live after them, and the good is often interred with their bones. This state takeover is a resident evil. It is an evil that will live and burn in the hearts of Newarkers for decades to come. It must end. It must stop. The people of Newark deserve better. They deserve a chance to take care of their own children and a chance to take care of their own schools. As long as the state is here, it will be a dictatorial system that dictates to Newarkers what is best for their own children. How can that be? How can Newarkers be stripped of their right to vote on a school budget, while white people up the block can vote for their budget? People here can't. Resident evil. I heard a quote the other day that said, "Hell begins when we believe that the evil in the world cannot be overcome." I believe in my heart, because the blood of Newark runs in my veins, that we will never let hell begin here in Newark, not while I breathe. We together, the people in this audience, have the power. If you have the will, we have the power to end this takeover and begin the process of rebuilding our schools and our city. It is up to you, Newark. It is up to you to go out and to call on every single Newarker and to tell them the end is near, and we must bring this end to a close now. It cannot wait for another generation of children. The thing that is missing most in our children, if you haven't noticed, is that many of them can't read. When will it dawn on us that we need to teach children to read? You can't become an independent learner without reading. You can't learn mathematics without reading. You can't learn social studies. You can't learn history. You can't learn anything unless you can read. But no, this school district rather spend millions on consultants and little on reading. Tell me that makes sense. I say to you now, and I say to every good Newarker, end the resident evil.
Thank you. Next speaker, Geraldine Webb. Next speaker, Rahman Mohammed.
Just get 3 minutes. 3. You don't get it.
Rahman Muhammad, 452 Washington Street. I guess y'all want to get the union people out the way, huh? First, let me commend the Board of Education, the board members for your vote today on a moratorium, even though I know it's a paper tiger and that the state is going to do what they want to do. I do appreciate the fact that you actually took a stand. I think it's important that as leaders that we begin to take a stand in the face of this tyranny that is currently going on in our school system. I want to be clear that I've not been to these board meetings because, unfortunately, I've came to a sad realization a long time ago that the state of New Jersey is going to run the system the way they want to run it as long as they were in control of the system. That probably was a bad mistake on my part because, unfortunately, we've gotten complacent. I worked with a lot of superintendents. Every superintendent I've given a fair shot in here, whether it was Beverly Hall, Marion Bolden, Dr. Cheney, and even Cammie Anderson. I didn't come and demonize you or make it seem like you were something other than what the community wanted or needed. I actually wanted to give you an opportunity to actually present some fair plans and opportunities to the Board of Education. A board that I know that people claim to reform, and unfortunately, when we have leaders, especially even our president, who's actually advocating the expansion of these charter schools, when it dwindles down into the cities and we have the educational secretary, Surf, then we got Christie, and now we have Cammie Anderson, Booker, and the rest of these folks who just want to expand the charter school growth here. There's an impact on the decisions that's being done here that we're not dealing with, and that is the fact that we are displacing a lot of workers in a society that we know will never find jobs if we don't turn around here and have things to replace it. I've met with you, Ms. Anderson, on this, and you told me that you understood this plight, that we cannot claim to love the kids and want to do for the kids, and yet we're unemploying their parents. And we know that these jobs, and I've said this, and I've said this to you, Ms. Anderson, and I've said this in public, there's no mistaking, that I would love for public employment not to be what we depend on in the city of Newark. I really would, because I do understand that things are changing, and in that direction, it just seems if we keep leaning in that direction, eventually we're going to fall. But if we're not having a conversation, if we're missing the point that we are creating a permanent underclass, a permanent poverty class in this city, because most of the kids' parents who you're unemploying and laying off reside in the city of Newark, if we don't understand that fact, then what we're doing is just making it harder for that child to learn. And no matter what schools you put them in, no matter how you fake it and try to make it seem, you cannot teach a hungry child. You cannot teach a child. You cannot teach a child whose environment is not conducive to them actually being able to read, or to that parent actually being able to produce for their family. Right now in the city of Newark, we up at Avon School because there were shootings in the play. Y'all know I don't care about no bells. We was shooting in the playground. Y'all know we up at Avon Avenue School, and they were shooting up at the playground. And so right now, what we've decided to do is take over these playgrounds, and with the street doctor and Local 617 and a couple of the Eastern Stars, we're actually up there with these children, playing with these kids just in the playground for one day. But what we decided to do was, you know what, we can't do this just for one day. We have to do this all summer. And what we was told was that the administration is being said, and I'm not going to call no name, that they are not going to allow for summer programs to go in the playground. So I want to make it clear that we are going to go out here and try to adopt these playgrounds. And I promise you, that if you lock one playground, that I will cut that lock. And I promise you. Because y'all know I don't care about going to jail. I don't care about none of those things, because I tell people, if you ain't working, you're going to do something, get locked up anyway. You might as well stand up and fight for something. But if you lock one playground, that we decide to go in and do a summer program, and I'm going to go out here and ask for all these nonprofits to turn around here and volunteer in the playground. If you shut one playground down and put a lock on it, we're going to cut that lock, and I dare you to come up in there, and I guarantee you the revolution might not start that day, but the rebellion damn sure going to happen.
Next speaker, Lucius Jones.
Miss Jackson, may we have order, please? Order.
Can we have order, please? We're trying to do business tonight.
May we have order, please? Order.
Can we respect for the speaker, please?
Mr. Jones.
Lucius Jones, 2 Cedar Street. Cammie, you came in Newark and you asked for everybody to call you Cammie, and that's what they call you. I like to say to you that, you know, there's many things that's on my mind that's tossing and turning inside my stomach. But you know, what really concerns me is when you send bad Haggerty to a principal at this school. And
It's not appropriate, Mr. Jones.
I said bad Haggerty. Sue me. When you send one of your representatives, one of your lynchmen, to Central High School and threaten a councilman because he's doing his job, and tell him that he got 2 weeks to give his resignation. Mr. Bad runs a charter school, or founder of a charter school in New York City, and maybe even working in that school while he's on the district's budget. How can Mr. Bad, who hasn't done a thing, but get a raise of what, $35,000, $40,000? Where'd you get the money from, Miss Anderson? How can you pay someone more money when my kids don't have adequate computers in their school? How can you pay someone more money, Miss Anderson, when the demographer said that we were going to have a certain amount of students in our school, and more students arrived, but the money never showed up? You, in my opinion, are a thief. In my opinion, you're a thief. You're a modern day taker and not giver.
Mr. Jones.
I said,
Mr. Jones.
I believe that what she's doing is wrong. She is stealing from the students of the city of Newark in the name of her friends. She's appointing her friends that she has a relationship with to come over here and run this school district and gonna run it to the ground. Mr. Anderson, you say on your resume, it says, I don't see where it says you even have a master's degree. Do you have a master's degree? Or a PhD even? How are you running the Newark Public Schools when you hadn't ever been a principal in any school? People have asked me to remain calm. They asked me to remain calm over and over again. I cannot hold my peace anymore because what you're doing is criminal. To want to turn this city into 100% charter schools, you are wrong. And if you believe that in January of 2014 that you're gonna roll out your master plan to close 25 to 45% of our school in one shot, you got another thing coming, my dear.
Mr. Jones, can I ask you to wrap up, please?
I'm wrapping it up. Not only do we intend to get rid of the governor, we gonna get rid of you.
Next speaker, Roger D. Summers. I'm going to call the next three speakers, Roger D. Summers, Jackie Finch, and Adonan Murray Thomas.
Good evening. I am Roger D. Summers.
Mr. Summers, before you speak, I apologize for interrupting. Ladies and gentlemen, let us remember the decorum that is appropriate for this meeting. We cannot have members of the audience calling out, disturbing speakers who are trying to share their views. Let us be respectful of each other and let us listen. Thank you.
Like I started, I am Sergeant Roger D. Summers, United States Army retired. I have 2 children in Peshine Avenue School. And the teachers and the principal and parents have to go in their pockets to get supplies for the school to help so-called, I don't even know what to call you. When you're supposed to be supplying the supplies for the school, we have to go in our own pockets to get pencils, to get construction paper. We have to get milk bottles that should be supplied by you. And you guys got nerve enough to talk about you doing a good job? You got nerve enough to sit up on that dais and look at us and think that we're supposed to be clapping our hands because we're proud of you? I'm not even going to take 3 minutes. All I have to say is you need to do a better job or find a job.
Jackie Finch, Adonna Murray Thomas. The next four names: Anthony Steele, Katrina Barkley, Julia Lopez, and Quanda King.
I'm trying to see who's calling.
Hello, it's Adoria Murray Thomas. So my name is Adoria Murray Thomas. I'm born and raised in Newark, New Jersey. I live on 316 Fairmount Avenue, and I was actually here primarily just to talk about some resources particularly for high school students in Newark this summer. But I want to make a quick comment about one of the commentaries I heard earlier. So a young woman commented on Shabazz and how that wasn't her first choice, which I completely understand. If that's not your first choice, then I understand the discontent. But to write off an entire school and thousands of students as incompetent, as unable, I'm troubled by that, and I just urge everyone to be cautious of writing off thousands of students and generalizing them and labeling them and putting them in one box. On another note, I'd like to speak about some resources that Newark has. I know that a lot of the focus is on schools and charter schools and public schools, and while that's definitely important, let's talk about some of the things that are available here in our city by our people, for our people, right? So one of the first things I want to talk about is the Youth Ambassadors Program through Councilman Sharif's Central Ward. We're actually starting, there's gonna be a Youth Ambassadors Program, one that I'll be working with, and that's gonna be basically an opportunity for Newark students in the Central Ward to get involved in community service and really just get deeply enriched and involved in their community. So please, if you have any questions about that, come to me. I'll also be co-directing a free SAT prep program through iReform Education, which is a education reform nonprofit in downtown Newark. So if you have any questions about that, please be in touch with me, and I'll be happy to share information. Again, my name is Adoria Murray Thomas, born and raised in Newark, New Jersey. I am a proud alumni of the Chad School. I'm a proud alumni of, yeah, Chad, yeah, okay. I'm a proud alumni of Team Academy, but even more so, I'm a proud member of Newark, New Jersey. Thank you.
Chair Baskerville, we have two other students, number 54 and 100.
Number 54, Jessica Haynes. Is Jessica Haynes here? Serafina Charles, number 100, Serafina Charles. I called Anthony Steele, Katrina Barkley, Julia Lopez, Quanda King, Michelle Leverett. If any of those people are here, please come down to the mic. Good evening.
Good evening. Ms. Anderson, advisory board members, parents, staff, and students.
Excuse me, please state your name and address for the record.
My name is Serafina Charles. I live at 77 Sunset Avenue, Newark, New Jersey. I've been with Alexander Street community for the last 7 years. I'm a parent of 2 children who attend Alexander, and I'm also a co-worker. Our school has gone through several changes over the last 3 years, and at that time, we have worked tirelessly to create and maintain a safe, nurturing environment for our students and families. I appreciate the teachers and support staff who encourages our students, promote respect, and foster a sense of pride where many have lost hope in their education and in the community. I would like to thank Ms. Cami Anderson for allowing us Principal Maria Ortiz, Vice Principal Sharonda Evans-Humes. They have been doing a remarkable job. Thank you also for Ms. VP Green. I also want to thank Parent Liaison, Ms. Francis, for her dedication and loyalty in keeping parents involved in the school. And not forgetting our very special social worker, Ms. Cannon. As we embark on the oncoming school year, I pledge that I will support students and staff and make myself available whenever necessary. I know that we all want our children to be successful in school. At Alexander, not only do we want our children to strive in education, but we are determined to address the needs of the whole child and produce positive and productive, well-rounded students. I am proud to say that my children are students of Alexander Street. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Quanta King. I live on Orange Street in Newark, and I have 2 kids that attend teen schools, and I have 1 child that attends Newark Public Schools. Me personally, everyone has their own opinion, but I think everything is not for everyone. Some kids excel better in public schools, some excel better in charter schools. At the end of the day, I think it's about education. And I want my kids to have an education. I think it starts with me. I am their advocate, I am their fighter, and I'm gonna make sure that they get the education that they deserve. Born and raised in Newark, okay? Avon Avenue is where I'm from, born on Chancellor Avenue. So, therefore, I am Newark just as much as anyone else, okay? And at the end of the day, when I was growing up, we had Catholic schools, because that's where I went, Queen of Angels. Then from there, I went to Newark Tech. My brother went to Chancellor Avenue Annex, and he went to Wellsburg Middle. He's traveled all over the world. So it doesn't matter where you are, it's where you're going. And my kids are going somewhere, and I feel like the kids of Newark should be going somewhere. Team School has offered so much to my kids. Not just my kids that go to team, but also my son who goes to Lincoln. I love Lincoln. The teachers there are doing what they can do. They're squeezing water out of rock. They need help. They need funding, and they need for the school board to ask us parents, what do we think? Because it's our kids. Now, team has college tours, where they allow my son to go on. They don't look at him any different. He's a child. And all children need to experience certain things, whether it be going to college, law day. Lincoln had law day. My son was the lawyer, and he run. All right, fat. You see what I'm saying? So that's Newark Public Schools. Team Schools had a dance for my little daughter. My son took her. So what I'm trying to get is us to be a movement. It's not about Newark Public Schools. It's not about charter schools. It's about the kids of Newark getting the education that they deserve and going where they need to go. Because it's bad enough everybody else looks at Newark that we're not, oh, Newark is so disfranchised, oh, they have to deal with this, they have to, yes, they do, but you know what it do? It make them stronger, and it gives them a better outlook on life, and see that where they came from is not where they have to stay. You understand what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, I'm for everybody. Newark Public Schools, charter schools, I'm for education.
Are there any more speakers whose names have been called? If so, please come to the mic, and I will call the next 4 names: Carol Donnell, Monet Adams, Tawana Roebuck, and Carol Joyner. If any of those people are here, please come down to the mic. Good evening.
Good evening. My name is Monet Adams, and I live on 217 Vassar Avenue, Newark, New Jersey, 07112, South Ward. I would just like to speak to Newarkers coming together as a community to help our children as far as education and violence and just dispelling myths around ignorance. So, I believe it was Marion Williamson who said, our greatest fear is not that we are inadequate, but that we are powerful beyond measure. And it is our greatness, not our darkness, which frightens us. I believe that every resident of Newark that has this light, that power to help change Newark for the better, the power to help make Newark a safer place to live, work, and go to school. At 20 years old, with 2 jobs, a full-time student, I still find time to make an impact on Newark. By mentoring high school girls and young men in the importance of attending college and being the change they wish to see not only in the world, but in their communities. Growing up in the 90s, I remember the streets being safer, the music being a whole lot better, and the children being happier. As a South Fork native, continuing my education has caused me to take advantage of opportunities outside of Newark, but it has never stopped me from coming back, as I am still deeply rooted in my community. As time is always of the essence this day and age, I am a statement that all it takes is a few hours here and there for each of us to reach out to each other and stand together in unity to make a change. That light that Marion Williamson was talking about is not just in some of us, it's in all of us. And as we let our own light shine, we unconsciously give other people the permission to do the same. As we liberate ourselves from our own fear, our presence automatically liberates others to break out of that fear as well. So I ask that you use your light to take back what's yours, from the violence, the ignorance, the injustice, what we call our home, our city, our Newark. Thank you.
Next 4 speakers, Avia Jacobs Joyner, Vivica Williams, Tony Ryan, and I see here 2 names, however only one of these people would be able to speak, Neil Bradley, Yolanda Tarmer. Are any of those people here? If so, please come down to the mic.
Good evening, Madam Chair,
Good evening.
Superintendent Anderson, and the advisory board members. My name is Vivica Williams, and I am the interim principal at 13th Avenue School. I am here to speak on the progression and the challenges that we've encountered here at 13th Avenue this year. But although we've encountered challenges, our 3 main goals this year was to definitely improve, 1, our parental involvement and communication between school and community, build and improve relationships among staff and students, and also teach our students to improve their relationships among each other, and also improve staff practices and work with teachers on providing and improving instruction. I say that to say there's been a lot of misinformation about our school in the community. But in order to keep our lines of communication open and provide the community with valid facts, we will conduct weekly meetings with our parents to address their concerns. And our next meeting will take place on Thursday, May 30th. I would like to highlight the great things that are happening at 13th Avenue School. We had our first academic and spring showcase fair. Our academic fair was an opportunity for our students to share their learning for the whole entire school year, their writing, their project-based learning in the classroom, and it was an opportunity for us to showcase our fine arts program, such as our music program and our physical education program, so that teachers can see, so that parents can see the great things that our students are learning in the classroom. In addition, we're looking at opening up project-based learning in our classroom, learning beyond the 4 walls that we currently have in our classrooms. And we're doing that through improving the partnerships that we have in the community. One partnership that we do have is the Greater Newark Conservancy Partnership, where our children have been learning about healthy foods and also learning how to grow gardens in our school as well. And we've received a grant from Whole Foods to continue the learning in our community garden. I also like to speak on the partnership we have between our after-school programs
and our ELT program, how we are working together to continue student learning. Our ASYDP program, AmeriCorps program, and Focus program have helped with continuing the project-based learning in our schools. For instance, our ASYDP program, we've been teaching our children about recycling and how they can help to improve their neighborhood and how they can help to improve the earth. And the ASYDP program, I just wanted to take a moment just to share one thing before, I'll speak up, to share one thing before that we are having, I don't think it's working, our career day for our students, because we believe our students have the opportunity, they need to know what careers are available for them. I invite everyone to come to our career day on May 30th so that you can experience the great people that we have, the community coming into our schools to talk to our children about their future endeavors. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm going to call the next 5 speakers. Jopitha Jones-Garretson, Maureen Robinson, Reverend Louise Bates-Jennings, Dan Denos, and Eugene S. Human. If any of those people are here, please come down to the mic. Yeah, call them out.
Good evening. My name is Maureen Robinson, and I live at 428 Doyle Street, Elizabeth, New Jersey. I'm a highly qualified special education teacher in the Newark School District and community activist. The perpetuation and promulgation of trickle-down racism, discrimination, bigotry, hatred, favoritism, cronyism, differential treatment, and in my constitutionally protected opinion, the abuse of white power continues to plague the school district of Newark and every other predominantly African-American school district in the state of New Jersey. If perchance my speeches are beginning to sound redundant, it's intentional. For you can't treat human beings like slaves on a plantation under the constant threat of losing their livelihoods and expect continuous productivity. When enough of the slaves become restless, they are going to revolt by creating and causing an insurrection. Thus, I come before you tonight uninhibited as the voice of one who continues to cry out in the wilderness for justice, equality, and fairness for those who still feel disenfranchised, who greatly fear adverse reprisals from mean-spirited, vindictive administrators who would victimize them by retaliating against them in one way or another, mainly by way of their evaluations, just because they speak out about their pain and suffering and the unfair manner in which they are being transferred around the district, bought and sold to the highest bidding massa on the plantation still. If they don't like you, they won't accept you into their domain building, and you are remanded to the plantation, EWPS. Employee morale in the Newark School District is at an all-time low with no light at the end of the tunnel. I've been lamenting to you about Westside High School being out of control for a long time. Finally, someone listened and removed the problem. I want to share with you another heads-up warning about another train wreck on the horizon that's about to happen. Newark Vocational High School is out of control, and the cover-up scam about the violence is a disgrace and travesty of justice. On April the 18th, there was what I consider to be an all-out war among certain factions of students attending Newark Vocational High School. There was another out-of-control fight at Newark Vocational on Friday, May 24th. Another cover-up scam at Newark Vocational High School is about the recent sexual assault and rape of a female student in the media center. Wake up, parents, and vote. There was also a report about another alleged consensual sexual encounter in the auditorium that was squashed and neither parent was notified. The male student was given a position of videotaping for the principal, according to informants, to shut up. Wake up, Newark, and vote. We have a new sheriff.
Next speaker, Tim Patterson, Pamela McNeil, Celeste Boone, and Lovey M. Ford. Good evening.
Good evening, Dan Denos, 169 Isabella Avenue. Good evening, State Superintendent Cammie Anderson and the Newark Board of Education, and to all who are present here tonight, good evening. I have the privilege to work with an organization that embodies the value of service, an organization who believes in the city's most valuable resource, most precious gem, we the people. This organization is called iReform. And I, Dan Denos, the Deputy Director for Community Advocacy, iReform is an education-focused organization whose mission is to mobilize parents, students, and community stakeholders to achieve substantial and sustainable improvement of student outcomes for all Newark school children. From traditional district public schools to charter schools to all the 5 wards in Newark, iReform believes all children should receive a world-class education and graduate from high school. Tonight, I come before the Assembly to speak on behalf of parent leaders who participate in iReform Parent Academy. The iReform Parent Academy is a 7-week community engagement and much more. We are an organization designed to support and elevate the voices of parents and encourage our parents to be civically engaged. Tonight is a testimony to what we believe in. It is important to know that iReform parent leaders have children attending both traditional district schools, magnet schools, and charter schools. We understand that all Newarkers are in this together for the betterment of our community and for the betterment of our children. Although things are not perfect in our district, and we can all agree that we have much more work to do. But I am reminded of our past when I read Brown versus Board of Education. Oliver Brown was a parent. He worked for Santa Fe Railroad and assistant pastor at his local church. His daughter Linda, a 3rd grader, had to walk 6 blocks to her school bus to ride to Moreau Elementary, her segregated black school. While Sumner Elementary, a segregated white school, is only 7 blocks from her house. The issue then was race and segregation, but the principle remains the same as today as it did then. Parents want a better education for their children. Brown was not the only parent in this case. 13 parents filed suit on behalf of 20 children and changed the course of history and education for their children. However, tonight, we are to speak about our iReform partnership with Chancellor Avenue School. Chancellor Avenue School Principal Jose Frontes and Chief Innovator Officer Shakina Pitts partner with iReform due to our mission statement and belief in our community. One focus, to improve public education. Chancellor Avenue School has become our community partner, and there we host our 7-week Parent Academy. It has been a partnership that truly is about serving the community. With my understanding of Renewed Schools, this is one of the objectives: to build community relations, to strengthen the school community. From the look of it, this is what I am seeing being done within Chancellor Avenue School. iReform supports our parents and all parents in the everyday fight to do the same.
Thank you. Is there anyone else whose name has been called who is here? If so, please come down and speak.
Good evening.
Good evening.
My name is Lovey M. Ford. I'm a resident of Newark, New Jersey. I reside at 368 South 7th Street. I am a product of Newark schools, graduated from Alexandria Elementary School, also from Arts High School in Newark, and I have 2 children who are children that attend Chancellor Avenue and Chancellor Annex. They're young. I'm a young and learning growing mother in this public school system, and I have noticed some changes that have happened over the few years that my children have been enrolled in school. They have just gone through a Renew School process, and this is year 1 of their renewal. What I've noticed is the dynamics of the staff that has come in. It's more pleasant, more inviting. The children are responsive to smiling faces and not teachers with attitudes who don't want to work with the children because they have ADD issues or they have other issues. I've noticed a severe change in my daughter's performance from last year to this year. I want to thank Principal Fuentes for his introduction of their 4 core values, which is respect, responsibility, resiliency, and reflection. Even though I see these positive things happening on the behavioral side, what I have noticed is they've taken away some very major, important programs from the kids, like before care. There's no before care programs for the parents who have to be to work at 8 a.m. in the morning and they have to drop their children off and leave them outside at 7:15 in the morning. There's also been new implementations of after-school programs, but I don't find them very useful for my children. It's just an occupying of their time. I also would like to note Councilwoman Mildred Crump, who is a very active member in Chancellor Annex. She's been there before the renewal process, and she's still there helping. She provides book bags, school supplies, and these are things that should be coming out of the funding that you all keep dabbling in. The funding is being misused severely. We need before care for our students. We can't go out and earn a living if we gotta leave our children in front of a school for an hour before they're allowed to go inside the school. I can't do that. I don't feel safe as a mother leaving my child in front of a school. What happened to the programs? You're misusing the money, and we really need that money to be used the correct way. I'm a single mother. It's hard for me to provide for me and my children, and when I have the school system not working for me to help me, it makes it even harder. I'm gonna yield. Thank you.
Thank you. Next 4 speakers on the list. If anyone's name has already been called, you can come down. The next 4 speakers: Lauren Williams, Veronica Williamson, Donald Jackson, and Donna Jackson.
Hello.
Good evening.
Hello.
Hi.
I came over here because I was a student who wanted to say something, and I actually never got called. So I was wondering when I would be able to speak on my behalf.
Are you on the list?
Yes, I am.
What is your name?
Santangela Moore.
And you spoke. Okay, go ahead.
Okay. My name is Santangela Moore. I lived at 64 Schuyler Avenue, Newark, New Jersey. Excuse me?
Go ahead, hon.
Okay. I lived at 64 Schuyler Avenue, Newark, New Jersey, in the South Ward. Before I even start, I would like to say this isn't about, when people see my uniform, they think, oh, this is another charter school against public school thing. I'm not here for that. I just wanted to, just tell my experience. I came from South 17th Street School, and I went to Team Academy right after that. But without South 17th Street as my basis, I don't think I would have survived through Team Academy. So just know that I'm not here to, put down public schools. I feel like, as a student who goes to a charter school, which is NCA, that we tend to come to these things and we think that it's all about charter versus public, but it's really not. It's about uniting as Newark residents and bettering education for all students in Newark. So that's first what I would like to say. About 2 weeks ago, I had a personal incident with my house and my belongings where we were burnt out, and nobody from the South Ward, no councilman, nobody else tried to contact me or my family and see if we were okay, if we needed anything, if we needed any assistance. But the people who were there for me was the Team School Network and the KIP Network, and the people who were there for my siblings who attend other charter schools and also who attend public schools nobody was there for them either but the KIPP network. Excuse me, I'm speaking. Thank you. I would like to also say that it's not about the North Ward, the South Ward, the East Ward, the West Ward, the Central Ward, or any other ward in Newark. It's all about just being Newark. Because as united we stand and divided we fall. If we continue to separate our education system between a public school, charter school, private school, then nobody's ever going to get the better education, because it's best if we work together and unite our educational systems instead of fighting against each other, making it worse for everybody.
Next speakers, Barbara Johnson, Aljathea Cannon, Marcia Howard, and Giovanni Gonzalez. If any of those people are here, please come down to the mic.
Donald, right there.
Call me.
Good evening.
I was kicked out. Am I speaking next?
Yes, I called your name.
Okay.
Yes, you are.
Thank you, Ms. Battlefield. Good to see you again. Love you. Donald Jackson, 80 Johnson Avenue, Newark, New Jersey, 07108. Let me just start off by saying this. It's not a police state in this building, okay? If you feel uncomfortable about the truth coming out, then maybe you need to leave. I will not be silenced, okay? I've been doing this since my freshman year in high school, okay? All these people here, the real Newark Public Schools, I grew up with them. I refuse to be silenced. Let me just start off by saying that, okay? Cami Anderson, your reign of terror must end. You know what I can't understand? If you're not doing a good job, why would you continue to wreak havoc on the lives of students and families throughout this city? Ms. Anderson, I hate to break it to you, but you're not doing a good job. But see, the problem is, you know that. That's why I'm lost. Any person with integrity that knows that they're not doing a good job would automatically step aside and let someone who has the guts and the power to do the job step in, okay? Ms. Anderson, you have shown so much disrespect to the city of Newark and Newark Public Schools community. It is amazing that you're still here. And community, it is amazing that you're still quiet. It is amazing. The fact that you leave board meetings early, text while parents and students are talking and expressing their dire need of help in these schools, and you don't have the concern to at least look at them, it is amazing. And there's so much disrespect. Let's go over your tenure as superintendent here. We have closed dozens of schools. We've laid off teachers, teachers' aide, and support staff that help run our school buildings. You have completely destroyed 2 Cedar Street, allowing any and everybody, all type of staff to come in the building, untrained and uncertified, okay? You have allowed the principals to run these school buildings and wreak havoc, okay? And I know stories personally, where parents and where students are being abused in these schools and the principals are doing nothing. 2 Cedar Street is doing nothing, and this silence cannot go long. It is amazing